They called themselves the Meridians, and they found Earth not through our radio signals or space probes, but through our songs. For centuries, they had been searching the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, scanning for the orderly patterns of advanced civilizations. What they found instead was noise. Beautiful, chaotic noise that rippled through the fabric of space-time in ways their sensors had never detected before. It was human music, art, and emotion leaving quantum echoes in the universe itself. The Meridian ships appeared silently in orbit one autumn morning, their vessels resembling liquid mercury shaped into perfect geometric forms. They made no announcement, sent no messages. They simply watched and listened, their sensors drinking in the cacophony of human civilization. Dr. Elena Santos was the first to notice them, not through any advanced detection system, but because her morning coffee suddenly began rippling in perfect concentric circles. As head of the Quantum Harmonics Division at the Global Science Institute, she recognized the pattern instantly. Someone or something was manipulating gravitational fields with incredible precision. "They're conducting," she whispered to her empty lab, watching her instruments light up with readings that should have been impossible. The aliens weren't just observing Earth. They were testing how the planet responded to different quantum frequencies, like a musician tuning an instrument. Within hours, similar reports flooded in from scientists worldwide. Classical music played in concert halls began synchronizing with mysterious gravitational waves. Street artists found their paintings taking on impossible colors when viewed through certain frequencies of light. Something was interacting with human creativity on a quantum level. The first direct contact came not through government channels or military installations, but through a small jazz club in New Orleans. In the middle of a late-night improvisation session, the musicians found their instruments responding to an unseen player. Notes they hadn't played echoed through the room, weaving through their music in perfect harmony. The Meridians, it seemed, were learning our languages, all of them, from spoken word to music to mathematical equations. But they were particularly fascinated by jazz, by the way humans could create order from chaos and beauty from randomness. When they finally revealed themselves, materializing in holographic form before the United Nations, their message was unexpected. "Your species produces quantum anomalies through neural processes we cannot replicate. Explain." Dr. Santos, hastily called in to advise the UN Security Council, couldn't help but laugh. "They want us to explain imagination," she told the assembled leaders. "They want us to quantify inspiration. They've mastered the physics of reality, but they don't understand how humans can dream." The Meridians' confusion only grew as they studied human civilization more closely. Their own society was built on perfect precision, on immutable laws and unwavering order. But humans thrived on imperfection. They created art from mistakes, found inspiration in accidents, and built entire cultures around the beauty of transient moments. "Your species generates more quantum entanglement through what you call dance than our most advanced quantum computers," the Meridian representative stated, their holographic form shifting through geometric patterns that might have been their version of bewilderment. "You achieve in moments what our simulations claim should be impossible." What the Meridians couldn't understand was that humans weren't following any grand design or cosmic pattern. Every song, every dance, every burst of laughter or cry of joy was a unique moment in the universe, never to be repeated exactly the same way again. And each of these moments sent tiny ripples through the quantum fabric of reality. As the first day of contact drew to a close, Dr. Santos made a breakthrough. She discovered that the Meridians' perfect geometric ships weren't just vessels, they were instruments. The aliens had been trying to recreate human creativity through technology, building massive quantum arrays to generate the same kinds of ripples that a single human child could create by singing. "You've been searching the universe for advanced civilizations," she told the Meridian representatives, "looking for patterns of order and technological progress. But you found us through our noise, through our music and our art and our emotions. Maybe that's what makes us advanced. Not our ability to create perfect order, but our ability to find beauty in chaos. The Meridians' response was unprecedented in their history of interstellar contact. Their ships, those perfect geometric forms, began to change. The Mercury-like surfaces rippled and flowed, no longer bound by rigid mathematical patterns. They were attempting to improvise. For the first time in their million-year history, the Meridians were learning to play. The Meridians' assessment of humanity began 3 days after first contact, but not in any way Earth's scientists had anticipated. Instead of evaluating our technology or military capabilities, they seemed obsessed with understanding why humans sang in the shower. The acoustic properties of your cleansing chambers are not optimal for sound reproduction, the lead Meridian observer, who had adopted the name Resonance, stated during a meeting with the International Cultural Exchange Committee. Yet humans consistently engage in vocal expression while performing basic hygiene. Explain. Dr. Maya Chen, the committee's head anthropologist, struggled to maintain her professional composure. "We sing in the shower because it feels good," she said. Sometimes, joy doesn't need an optimal reason. The concept of feeling good without quantifiable benefit sent ripples of disturbance through the Meridians' quantum field communications. Their ships, still orbiting Earth in their ever-shifting patterns, briefly flickered with patterns that Earth's quantum physicists would later identify as the alien equivalent of a collective headache. The assessment continued in increasingly bizarre directions. The Meridians were particularly troubled by human children. "Your offspring deliberately construct incorrect representations of reality," Resonance observed, gesturing to a kindergarten art display. "This drawing shows a son wearing what you call sunglasses. Your son does not wear optical enhancement devices. It's called imagination," Dr. Chen explained. "These incorrect representations help children understand and process the world around them. Plus," she added with a smile, "it's fun." The word fun had to be quarantined in a special segment of the Meridian's translation matrix after it caused several of their junior observers to experience what they termed logical recursion errors. But the real challenge came when the Meridians discovered human music festivals. The sheer concentration of unstructured noise, emotional expression, and seemingly random movement patterns caused their sensors to overload. What troubled them most wasn't the chaos. It was how the chaos somehow produced measurable quantum harmonies more complex than anything their civilization had achieved in millennia of ordered existence. Lieutenant Sarah O'Connor, assigned as military liaison to the Meridian observation team, found herself becoming an unexpected cultural interpreter. During a particular observation of a street music performance in Rio de Janeiro, she noticed something fascinating. The Meridian observers were starting to move. It was subtle at first, microscopic vibrations in their energy fields that matched the rhythm of the drums. But as the music built to a crescendo, several junior Meridians began exhibiting what could only be described as swaying. "Your bodies are responding to the sound patterns," Resonance noted with what might have been alarm. The Meridian elder quickly stabilized the younger observer's energy fields, but O'Connor had seen enough. "You can feel it, can't you?" she asked. "The music isn't just sound. It's something more." The Meridians' formal assessment protocols were proving inadequate for understanding humanity. Their attempts to quantify human creativity led to paradoxes that threatened to crash their most advanced quantum computers. How could a species simultaneously be so technologically primitive, yet produce such complex quantum effects through mere emotional expression? The breaking point came during a symphony performance that the Meridians had requested to observe. Halfway through Beethoven's Ninth, their sensors detected something unprecedented. The combined emotional resonance of the orchestra and audience was generating quantum entanglement patterns that, according to their science, should have required a stellar mass engineering project to produce. "Your species," Resonance announced during an emergency session with Earth's scientific leadership, "appears to be achieving the impossible through highly inefficient means. This contradicts all known laws of development." Dr. Chen exchanged glances with Lieutenant O'Connor before responding. "Perhaps your laws need updating. Human inefficiency, as you call it, might just be a different path to the same destination. The Meridians' assessment criteria were facing their greatest challenge, a species that achieved advanced quantum effects through finger painting and dance parties. Their rigid protocols for evaluating civilizations had never encountered a species that turned quantum physics into a form of art. As the second week of their assessment drew to a close, the Meridians made an unprecedented decision. For the first time in their history of interstellar contact, they admitted they needed to revise their fundamental understanding of what constituted advanced civilization. "We request," Resonance announced with what humans were beginning to recognize as embarrassment, "instruction in these practices you call arts and crafts. Our civilization appears to have developed an inefficiency deficiency." Dr. Chen's response would be remembered in human and Meridian histories alike. "Well then," she said, pulling out a box of crayons, "let's start with the basics of coloring outside the lines." The assessment of humanity was about to take a very unexpected turn, and the universe would never be quite the same. The crisis began with a song. One of the junior Meridian observers, now calling itself Harmony, had been studying Earth's music for weeks. During a routine quantum harmonics experiment, it attempted to reproduce a simple human lullaby. The resulting resonance cascade nearly tore a hole in space-time. "The fabric of reality is destabilizing," Resonance announced to the Emergency Council of Human and Meridian leaders. "Our attempt to replicate human creative expression has triggered a chain reaction in the quantum field." Dr. Santo's instruments confirmed the worst. The barrier between ordered space and quantum chaos was growing dangerously thin. The Meridians' perfect technology and humanity's chaotic creativity had combined in an unexpected way, creating a phenomenon that threatened both species. "Your ships," Dr. Santos observed, studying the readings, "they're like tuning forks for reality itself. And our music, our emotions, they're changing the frequency." The perfect geometric vessels of the Meridian fleet were vibrating in sympathy with human creative expression, amplifying the effect to dangerous levels. Lieutenant O'Connor, watching the Meridian ships ripple with disturbed patterns, had an idea. "What if that's not the problem?" she asked. "What if it's the solution?" The theory she and Dr. Chen developed was radical. The universe wasn't meant to be perfectly ordered or completely chaotic. It needed both. The Meridians' rigid perfection and humanity's creative chaos weren't opposing forces. They were complementary parts of a greater whole. "Think of it like jazz," Dr. Chen explained to the bewildered Meridian Council. "You have the structure, the underlying patterns. That's your contribution. We provide the improvisation, the spontaneous creation that brings those patterns to life." The Meridians' quantum computers struggled to process this concept, but their sensors couldn't deny the evidence. When they stopped trying to control or replicate human creativity, and instead began working in harmony with it, the quantum disturbances started to stabilize. Young Harmony, whose innocent attempt at singing had triggered the crisis, made a breakthrough. "Humans don't just create," it announced, its form shifting through excited patterns. "They create with their art, their music. It's a conversation with the universe." The solution emerged through an unprecedented collaboration. Human artists, musicians, and dancers were paired with Meridian quantum technicians. Together, they began what they called the Great Composition, a deliberate effort to weave order and chaos into a new kind of harmony. Street musicians in Tokyo found their songs intertwining with Meridian quantum frequencies, creating melodies that could be seen as colors in the air. Painters in Paris discovered their artwork taking on new dimensions as Meridian energy fields responded to their brushstrokes. Children's playground games began generating stable quantum entanglement patterns that the Meridians could use to balance their ship's energy signatures. The crisis had become a catalyst for something entirely new. The Meridians were learning to loosen their rigid patterns, while humans were discovering how their creativity could work within larger cosmic structures. Both species were evolving, finding strength in their differences rather than trying to overcome them. "Your species," Resonance admitted to Dr. Chen, its form now flowing in gentle waves rather than sharp geometric patterns, appears to have discovered a form of quantum engineering that operates on principles we never imagined possible. You achieve through joy what we struggle to accomplish through precision. The turning point came during a global concert, simultaneously performed in venues across Earth. As human musicians played, meridian ships hung in the sky above each location, their previously perfect forms now dancing with fluid grace. The quantum field disturbances didn't disappear. Instead, they transformed into a stable pattern that both species could work within. Dr. Santos, monitoring the quantum readings, watched in amazement as new forms of matter and energy began to emerge. We're not just saving reality, she realized. We're teaching it how to dance. Lieutenant O'Connor, who had been keeping a careful eye on both species throughout the crisis, noticed something else. The younger Meridians weren't just accepting human creativity, they were beginning to exhibit their own. Their quantum field patterns had started showing variations that their elders termed concerning deviations, but that humans recognized as the first steps toward artistic expression. As the crisis subsided, both species found themselves at a crossroads. The Meridians' perfect order had been permanently altered by their exposure to human creativity, while humanity's chaotic expression had found new purpose in cosmic patterns they never knew existed. Perhaps, harmony suggested, its form now rippling with what could only be described as excitement. This is what first contact was always meant to be, not one species teaching another, but both species learning to create something new together. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for this moment, when order and chaos could finally learn to dance together. The day the Meridian ships started singing, half of their command structure went into emergency shutdown. It began with the younger observers, particularly those who had spent the most time studying human artistic expression. Their perfectly geometric vessels began emitting quantum harmonics that matched human musical scales. At first, the Meridian elders dismissed it as a technological malfunction. Then they realized the truth: their youth were composing. "This is unprecedented," Resonance reported to the Joint Human Meridian Council. "Our species has maintained quantum harmony through precise mathematical patterns for millions of years. Now our young are creating variations." Dr. Chen watched as another Meridian ship, piloted by a youth who called itself Crescendo, transformed its hull into swirling patterns that mimicked Van Gogh's Starry Night. "They're not just creating variations," she said. "They're finding their own voice." The phenomenon spread rapidly through the Meridian fleet. Young observers began experimenting with their quantum field manipulations, creating what they termed emotional resonance patterns. Their ships, once indistinguishable from each other, started developing unique characteristics. Some flowed like liquid silver, others pulsed with rainbow frequencies, and a few even attempted to generate what humans would recognize as music. Lieutenant O'Connor, working with a group of Meridian youth, discovered something remarkable. "They're not just copying us," she reported. "They're developing their own art forms. Forms that could only exist through their understanding of quantum mechanics combined with human creative principles." The Meridian elders, faced with what they considered a cultural crisis, attempted to reinstate traditional protocols. But their efforts met with an unexpected response: peaceful resistance expressed through art. The young Meridians had learned from human history about cultural movements and artistic revolution. "Your species' capacity for change is infectious," Resonance admitted to Dr. Santos during a private consultation. "Our youth are exhibiting signs of what you call imagination. We don't know how to process this development." The breakthrough came from an unlikely source: a collaboration between human children and young Meridians. While the adults of both species grappled with protocols and implications, the children simply created. They taught the Meridians games, shared stories, and showed them how to make up new rules as they went along. A young Meridian, who had named itself Wonder, made history by creating the first truly Meridian art form. Using quantum fields, it generated patterns that existed simultaneously in multiple dimensions, creating what it called probability sculptures, art that changed based on the observer's thoughts and emotions. The human art world was revolutionized. Galleries began hosting exhibitions where Meridian quantum art interacted with human paintings and sculptures. Musicians collaborated with Meridian ships to create concerts that played across multiple dimensions of reality. Dance performances incorporated quantum field manipulations that allowed human movements to ripple through space-time itself. But the most profound changes were happening within Meridian society. Their rigid hierarchical structure began to shift as young Meridians introduced concepts like creative problem-solving and emotional intelligence. Ships that had once moved in perfect formation now flowed in organic patterns, responding to each other's artistic expressions. "We are experiencing what you call growing pains," Resonance confided to Dr. Chen. "Our species has remained unchanged for so long, we forgot how to evolve. Your children have reminded us that growth requires a willingness to break patterns." The transformation wasn't without its challenges. Some elder Meridians warned that too much creativity could destabilize their civilization. They pointed to human history, with its chaos and conflicts, as a cautionary tale. But the younger generation had a different perspective. "Humans have shown us that chaos and order are not opposites," Wonder explained during a cultural exchange symposium. "They are materials from which we can build something greater than either alone." Dr. Santos, monitoring the quantum field fluctuations around Earth, noticed something extraordinary. The creative expression of both species was generating new forms of stable quantum patterns, combinations of order and chaos that neither civilization had achieved alone. "We're not just breaking their protocols," she realized. "We're helping them write new ones. Protocols that include room for growth, change, and imagination." As the fourth month of contact drew to a close, the Meridian fleet had transformed beyond recognition. Each ship now possessed its own distinct character, its quantum field patterns, a unique combination of mathematical precision and artistic expression. They had learned to be individuals while maintaining their connection to the whole, a lesson they had learned from watching human society. Lieutenant O'Connor, observing a group of human and Meridian children collaborating on a quantum art project, smiled. "Maybe this is what first contact was always supposed to be," she said. "Not just sharing technology or knowledge, but teaching each other how to see the universe in new ways." The protocols hadn't just been broken. They had been reimagined, transformed into something that could accommodate both the precision of Meridian science and the boundless creativity of human expression. The project was unprecedented, a collaborative performance that would combine Meridian quantum engineering with human artistic expression on a scale never before attempted. They called it the Symphony of Spheres. 6 months after first contact, Earth's orbit had become a canvas. The Meridian ships, each now a unique expression of its pilot's artistic evolution, arranged themselves in what their scientists called a quantum resonance array, but what humans simply called a dance. "What we're attempting," Dr. Santos explained to a global audience, "is more than just a performance. We're creating a new language, one that speaks through both mathematics and emotion." The preparation had taken months. Human musicians, artists, and dancers worked alongside Meridian quantum engineers to create instruments that could translate human creativity directly into quantum effects. The Meridians, led by the now famous Wonder and Harmony, had developed new ways to modulate their ship's energy fields to respond to human emotional resonance. "Remember," Lieutenant O'Connor cautioned during the final rehearsal, "we're not trying to control this. We're trying to let it grow." The performance began at sunset. As Earth's musicians began to play, the Meridian ships pulsed with corresponding quantum frequencies. Human dancers moved in patterns that the ships echoed in their formations, creating ripples in space-time that transformed the very light around them. Children's choirs sang melodies that the young Meridians translated into visible quantum harmonics, painting the sky with colors that had never existed before. Street artists from every continent contributed their energy through quantum-enhanced interfaces, their creativity flowing directly into the cosmic canvas above. Resonance, watching from the lead ship, experienced what it would later describe as its first true emotion. We thought we were coming to Earth to evaluate humanity's readiness for galactic civilization, it transmitted. Instead, we discovered that we were the ones who needed to evolve. The symphony reached beyond Earth. Other spacefaring civilizations, drawn by the unprecedented quantum signatures, arrived to witness the performance. They found something that defied their understanding: a perfect fusion of order and chaos, science and art, precision and passion. Dr. Chen, monitoring the quantum field readings, noticed something extraordinary. The patterns we're creating, she announced, they match the fundamental structure of the universe itself. Not just the physical laws we can measure, but the spaces between them, the quantum possibilities we never knew existed. The young Meridians, now fully embracing their artistic awakening, began to improvise. Their ships moved in ways that should have been impossible, creating geometric patterns that flowed like liquid poetry. Human musicians responded instinctively, their music evolving to match the cosmic dance above. This, wonder transmitted, its ship glowing with colors that human languages had no words for, is what we were missing. Not just art or science, but the space where they become one. The symphony's crescendo came as dawn broke over Earth. As the first rays of sunlight touched the Meridian ships, their quantum fields synchronized with the solar radiation in a way that transformed the entire sky. For a brief moment, everyone on Earth could see reality as the Meridians saw it, a dance of quantum possibilities and mathematical poetry. But it was what they felt that changed everything. The performance had created something new, a shared consciousness that bridged the gap between Meridian precision and human passion. Every person on Earth experienced a moment of connection, not just with each other, but with the fundamental rhythms of the universe itself. The aftermath of the symphony brought changes neither species had anticipated. The Meridians formally abandoned their old protocols for evaluating civilizations, replacing them with what they called the harmony principles, guidelines that valued creativity and emotional intelligence alongside technological advancement. We came to Earth looking for signs of advanced civilization, Resonance declared during the closing ceremony. We found instead that advancement itself needed to be redefined. Your species taught us that the ability to create, to imagine, to feel, these are not inefficiencies to be corrected, but essential components of cosmic evolution. Dr. Santos, reviewing the quantum data from the performance, discovered that they had done more than create art. The symphony had generated new types of stable quantum states that could revolutionize both human and Meridian technology. The boundaries between art and science had not just been crossed, they had been dissolved. Perhaps, Lieutenant O'Connor suggested, watching human children teaching young Meridians how to draw with crayons while their ships created quantum auroras overhead. This is what the universe was waiting for, not just the meeting of two species, but the fusion of two ways of seeing reality. The last transmission sent by the Meridian fleet before they departed to share their discoveries with the galaxy became an instant classic in both cultures. Send more humans. These ones taught us how to dream. Earth had changed too. The experience of the symphony had awakened new understanding in humanity, a deeper appreciation for the artistry inherent in mathematics, the poetry hidden in physics. Both species had learned that true advancement lay not in perfection, but in the endless dance between order and chaos, science and art, precision and passion. And somewhere in the quantum fields that connected all things, new songs were waiting to be sung.